I have just bought a Bugatti Veyron. I've got a flipping Bugatti Veyron, a working gearbox right now, which was just a fuse. What the hell?
Many car lovers around the world know that Bugatti keeps many of its engineering details closely guarded. But after taking apart his own Bugatti Veyron during an ambitious rebuild, Mat Armstrong stumbled upon something he never expected to find. Hidden deep inside the car was a mysterious GPS tracker that appeared to have been installed by Bugatti itself, leaving fans completely stunned. So, why was the tracker secretly placed inside the Veyron? And what did Mat Armstrong discover after uncovering one of the car's biggest hidden secrets? The hypercar with a hidden secret. Mat Armstrong may have discovered something Bugatti managed to keep hidden for years: a secret tracking device. It has never been surprising that the YouTuber always dreamed of working on a supercar. But the Bugatti Veyron was far beyond anything he expected. Luxury car makers like Bugatti, Ferrari, and Lamborghini have always kept many of their engineering secrets private. They work hard to stop their special designs and repair methods from falling into the hands of ordinary mechanics. But what happens when someone like Mat decides to take the car apart and show everything to millions of people? To understand the story, we have to go back to where it all started. Before Mat became one of YouTube's biggest car creators, his life looked completely different. As a teenager, Mat was an ordinary young man who loved taking risks on his BMX bike. He enjoyed riding on difficult tracks and pushing himself to the limit. After some time, that excitement was no longer enough for him. He wanted to share those thrilling moments with people around the world, so he started a YouTube channel where he posted videos of his BMX tricks. Then, in 2013, everything changed. Mat attempted a difficult 720 tail whip trick, which involved spinning his body through two full 360-degree rotations, while the bike frame also completed one full 360-degree rotation. During the attempt, he dislocated his shoulder. That painful accident convinced him it was time to choose a different path, and he turned his attention to cars. Although Mat was best known for his BMX riding, many people did not know that he had always loved working on cars. He was highly skilled with tools and repairs, but that part of his life rarely appeared in his videos. He had no idea that one shoulder injury and his girlfriend's crashed Audi TT would eventually lead him to become one of YouTube's biggest automotive creators. After spending years rebuilding sedans, trucks, and luxury cars like the Aston Martin, his channel reached a whole new level when he finally got the chance to work on hypercars. But just how much has Mat shaken up the secretive world of supercars? And when his biggest project ever finally came his way, was he able to overcome the challenge of taking on Bugatti? Let's take a closer look. Mat Armstrong's Supercar Challenges. Mat Armstrong is not the kind of person who likes to show off, but his fans always want to see what he is working on, and he never disappoints them. Many car lovers admire his ability to bring badly damaged cars back to life. However, some hypercar companies do not share the same excitement. When Mat first started fixing cars on his own, he took on difficult jobs. Sometimes he struggled just to get an engine running. Other times, he had to replace damaged body panels because some car companies refused to sell him the parts he needed. But his biggest challenges came when he started repairing some of the world's most expensive supercars. In some cases, the situation became so serious that company CEOs even responded with videos on Instagram. Many people never expected that to happen. Having the angry CEO of a supercar company react to his work was just another challenge for a YouTuber with more than 7 million subscribers. Even then, he was far from finished. For weeks, Mat had been teasing the arrival of another supercar. Some viewers were excited to learn more about how these rare cars are repaired. Others were waiting to see if another supercar company would end up in a dispute with him. This time, the spotlight was once again on Bugatti. But instead of a Chiron, Mat had bought a Bugatti Veyron. A Bugatti Veyron in excellent condition usually sells for around $1.5 million to $3 million. It may not cost as much as a Chiron, but it is still an extremely expensive W16 supercar. Mat said they bought this Veyron for far less than its real value. In many of his previous projects, it was easy to understand why a supercar was being sold so cheaply. Cars like the Chiron Per Sport had obvious crash damage, and their long list of problems could be seen right away. This Veyron was different. At first glance, it looked almost perfect. The white paint looked clean, the headlights worked properly, and had no visible scratches. Even more surprising, when Mat started the car, its powerful 8-liter W16 engine came to life without any trouble. Naturally, viewers wanted to know why such an expensive car had been sold so cheaply. Usually, Mat already knows what is wrong with the cars he buys and explains everything to his audience. This time, however, he was just as confused as everyone else. The arrival of the Veyron quickly turned into a mystery, and the answers were not easy to find, at least during the first few days after he bought the million-dollar car. Everything changed once Mat began taking the car apart and closely inspecting its mechanical parts. As he looked deeper, he finally discovered why the deal had been so cheap. The truth slowly came out. What first seemed like small issues soon turned into much bigger problems, and the full extent of the damage was finally starting to reveal itself. What exactly did he discover? Would this turn out to be another great deal, or a costly mistake that would end with him losing a huge amount of money? Let's find out. The first deep check. As always with Mat and his DIY YouTube style, fixing a supercar is only exciting if he can do it without asking the original company for help. Over the years, he has repaired many expensive cars on his own without needing the manufacturer. His methods have often upset traditional car fans, but they usually worked. Even so, there has always been one major problem that keeps coming back. Lately, his biggest challenges have come from replacing important parts like the gearbox, engine control unit, suspension, security system, and carbon fiber body panels. It is no secret that top supercar companies keep these parts under tight control. They usually only sell them to mechanics who are officially approved by the company. Even before Mat found anything unusual on his Veyron, big problems were already waiting for him. As he continued taking the car apart, he turned the key again to make sure the engine still worked. The engine started without any trouble, but the car would not move. No gear would engage. The engine was running, yet the car stayed completely still. That was the first clear sign that something was seriously wrong. Mat quickly realized there was a major issue and believed the gearbox could be damaged. His first step was to call his friend Mark, who had once managed to buy a replacement gearbox for his own Veyron. The price was shocking, £300,000. After hearing that, Mat knew he was dealing with a very expensive problem. Getting the car out of park was only the beginning. As he looked closer, he noticed coolant leaking from the place where the car had been parked. One problem after another started showing up, and it became harder to tell if buying the Veyron had really been a good deal. This was his first serious inspection of the car, and the list of problems just kept growing. Then again, only 450 Bugatti Veyrons were ever built. A car that rare is always going to come with unique challenges. The Veyron itself was a very special project. It was not created because Bugatti needed a new model. It was built because a group of engineers wanted to prove that such an incredible car could actually be made. That determination led to one of the greatest engineering achievements in the car world. The Veyron's W16 engine was not made by simply joining two V8 engines together. Instead, it was carefully designed using a much more advanced system that combines two narrow-angle V8 engine layouts into one powerful engine. Still, the thought of a $300,000 repair bill was enough to make anyone nervous. A few weeks later, Matt had the Veyron moved to his own garage so he could inspect it more closely and find out just how much money he might end up losing. But what was he about to discover? And would he, once again, find a way to beat the odds with the Bugatti? Could he really find a bigger problem than a 300,000 pounds repair bill? Let's find out. The real problem. Inside Bugatti Veyron. Finding the real problem with the Veyron turned out to be much harder than Matt expected. Even so, he was determined to fix it. As he had done with many difficult cars before, he faced the challenge without backing down. The first thing he needed to do was figure out how to get the car into gear. After taking on Bugatti for the first time while repairing Alex's Chiron, many viewers believed the company was now keeping a close watch on everything Matt did. Fans wanted to know if he had really bought the Veyron at a bargain price, while supercar purists hoped he would fail. Ignoring the pressure, Matt stripped the Veyron down and ran a full diagnostic test. The results were not good. The screen showed more than 30 fault codes, including a cylinder that was misfiring and several coolant leaks at the front of the car. Hoping for better clues, Matt let the car cool down completely. He believed a cold start might reveal the real cause of the problems, but after starting the engine again, nothing changed. The misfiring cylinder was still there, and he still did not know what was causing it. At first, he thought the gearbox was the main problem. Since the car would not come out of park, it seemed like the most likely cause. However, the warning lights on the dashboard kept pointing to a coolant problem as well. After removing the front body panels, Matt found the coolant tank. It was already completely full. Even so, when he started the engine, the coolant warning lights stayed on, and the car still refused to go into gear. Despite all the setbacks, Matt refused to give up. He still had one more idea, and his experience repairing Alex's Chiron gave him some confidence. He remembered that the Chiron had two separate cooling systems to keep its powerful engine from overheating. Thinking the Veyron might have a similar setup, he searched for another coolant tank. His guess was correct. He found a second coolant tank, and this one was not filled to the proper level. Suddenly, the warning lights made perfect sense, and he finally knew one of the problems he needed to fix. After filling the second coolant tank to the correct level, he switched on the ignition again. This time, the coolant warning disappeared. It was a small victory. Even though the car still would not go into gear, Matt was happy because he had solved one important problem. He still did not know exactly how to fix the gearbox, but he felt he was getting closer to bringing the Veyron back to life. After celebrating the coolant fix, Matt knew there was still plenty of work left to do. He opened the damaged gearbox housing and started looking for answers. What he found inside was nothing like what viewers had expected. How did a tiny melted fuse bring a $2 million Bugatti Veyron to a complete stop? Why did the Bugatti start working again, only to break down during its first road test? Let's find out. Bugatti Gearbox Mystery. When the gear stayed stuck in park, the first thing to check was the gearbox. Matt did what any mechanic would do. He searched for a mechanical problem, hoping he would find something that explained the issue. After inspecting the gearbox, he found very little that looked wrong. The gearbox pump was producing the correct pressure. When he removed it for a closer look, he realized it had recently been replaced, so it was unlikely to be causing the problem. Still, with a Bugatti, you can never rule anything out. Matt checked everything again and again, but every inspection led to the same result. Hours passed with no clear answer. Determined to solve the mystery, he searched for more information and eventually spoke to Rick, who suggested that the problem might be electrical instead of mechanical. Matt checked the fuses above the gearbox, but at first he found nothing. Fans watched closely, wondering if he would finally give up on this $2 million problem. But Matt had already solved one of the biggest supercar challenges of his career when he repaired Alex's Bugatti Chiron and figured out how to remove its stuck parts. Some supercar fans who had never liked Matt's repair methods believed this problem would stop him for good. But just when things looked hopeless, Matt discovered something that changed everything. The gearbox itself was working properly. The real problem was in the fuses. After taking a closer look, he found that one of the fuses above the gearbox had melted, which kept the gear locked in park. Not knowing if it would solve everything, Matt simply replaced the damaged fuse and turned the ignition on again. This time, the gearbox worked, and the gears finally moved. Everyone in the workshop celebrated the breakthrough. Bugatti had said he could not repair its cars, yet Matt had now managed to fix two of them: Alex's Chiron Pur Sport and his own repossessed Veyron. When Matt worked on the Chiron, Bugatti CEO Mat Armstrong strongly criticized his repair methods. After this latest success, many viewers noticed that he had stayed quiet. The online comments were harsh, especially because Matt said Bugatti had refused to help him. Even after getting the gearbox out of park, Matt felt the job was not truly finished. It seemed too easy that a single melted fuse could have caused all the trouble. Whether it was instinct or the experience he had gained from more than 10 years of repairing cars, he was not completely convinced. A few weeks later, the Veyron was ready for a road test. The powerful W16 engine started and sounded great as Matt drove the car. But after only a few minutes, the engine suddenly shut off again, showing that another problem was still hiding inside the car. Why did every repair fail, even after Matt replaced major parts? What hidden problem turned Mat Armstrong's biggest restoration into his most frustrating challenge? Let's take a closer look. The tracker that left Matt confused. After spending many weeks and months rebuilding the Veyron, with his viewers supporting him the whole way, Matt still could not get the car to run properly. Every time he started it, the same thing happened. The engine would speed up, then suddenly slow down, before cutting off completely. It would start, rev for a moment, and then die again. At first, Matt suspected the engine was not getting enough fuel to keep running, but he found no evidence to confirm it. Unsure whether to seek Bugatti's help or fix it himself, he faced another setback. Despite the restoration's progress, the Veyron remained stuck in the garage instead of on the road. As expected, this new problem divided his audience. Some Bugatti fans believed he should send the car back to the manufacturer and let them repair it properly. Others, especially people who enjoy DIY car repairs, encouraged him to keep trying until he found the real cause of the problem. The first electrical tests suggested that the fuel pump might be faulty. Even so, Matt's experience as a mechanic made him think the problem could be linked to the immobilizer instead. Like many high-end supercars, the Bugatti has two advanced security systems. One is the immobilizer, and the other is the tracking system. Both of these parts are carefully hidden deep inside the car to stop anyone from tampering with them. Matt eventually found them and even replaced some of the parts. He then started to suspect that the newly installed tracking system might somehow be shutting the car down every time the ignition was switched on. It sounded like a possible explanation, but at that point, it was only another guess. He had no evidence that the tracker was actually causing the problem. Later, Matt considered another possibility. He wondered if the car keys were to blame. Bugatti keys contain special transponder chips that communicate with the car. Each key is programmed specifically for that vehicle, and the system checks the key before allowing the engine to run. Matt had 3 different copied keys. Every one of them could start the car without any trouble. The dashboard also showed no warning that suggested the keys were causing the issue. Once again, one of his theories turned out to be wrong, leaving him no closer to the real answer. During all of this, Bugatti remained completely silent. Some viewers believed the company was ignoring him because he had successfully repaired the Chiron Pur Sport after the company's CEO had said it could not be done. Although there was never any proof that this was true, the rumors spread quickly online. The growing attention made the situation even more difficult for Matt. So, what do you think about Mat Armstrong's shocking discovery inside his own Veyron? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.